Now let's have examples where we use terminal functional groups. And when we have a terminal functional group, it is normally the case that we do not anymore add a locant because it is imperative that you give them the first locant, number 1. For example, let's have number 43. Our parent chain here has 1, 2, 3 carbons. Careful to not count this, that's a hydrogen, so you only have 3. So that is prop. There is no double bond or triple bond, so AN. But instead of going with E, let us recognize that we have here C double bond O H. And what is that? That's an aldehyde, which by the way has the suffix al. And so for that, we replace the E with al. And again, you do not anymore need to put a number 1 because that is automatic for a terminal functional group like an aldehyde. So this is, in fact, the best name for this example. Also, there is another thing that we need to know. There are cases where they don't even draw the H anymore because it's assumed that we know there's a hiding hydrogen in a skeletal formula. So even if it was drawn like this, then it should still strike to us as an aldehyde. But anyway, how about this? Oh, this is an example of what I just said. Look, I have a C double bond O, but I only have 3 bonds. That means we can assume there's a hydrogen here, and boom, that's an aldehyde. I can also assume the same for this. So what happens now if I have a double aldehyde? In this case, I see sometimes there are like references indicating the locants of these, but for a dual aldehyde, since they can occupy both ends anyway, it's still common to see us not needing to put like the locants. Like, let's say if I have, how many carbons are these? 1, 2, 3, 4. So like 1 and 4, and then dial. You can do away with that. And by the way, since I did say that, since I have 2 of them, it's dial. So what again is that? So we have 4 carbons, so that's but. And then there's no double bond in those, so that's AN. And then there are 2 als, so instead of using al, I say dial. But we have a problem here. Just like the previous recordings, if I have my bond type and my real suffix clashing with consonants, I need to insert here a letter E. Okay. And here, it seems like I have a dimethyl. It would be probably wise to count closer to that. So as if this is the real counting. So that would mean 2,2-dimethyl. So the final name would be 2,2-di... Nah, it's not fitting. So let me just move it a little bit more. So it's going to be 2,2-dimethyl butane diol. For a cyclic aldehyde, it shouldn't be much of a big deal. So it's just the same idea, except if cyclic. So maybe I could write that here. So if I have a straight chain or an open chain, it's al. But if it is a cyclic compound, then you use an entire suffix carbaldehyde. And the reason why it became extended is because on top of the aldehyde, you have an extra carbon. Think about this. This is the parent chain, right? But the moment I add the aldehyde group, that means you add an extra carbon on top of it. Unlike in propanol, the aldehyde group is already part of the chain, like 1, 2, 3. So the prop already includes the aldehyde's carbon. Unlike in a cyclic compound like this carbon is extra on top of the parent. That's why we need to have an extra part, which is the carb for that carbon. And that's actually going to be a recurring trend when we have other terminal functional groups. Like in this recording, I'm just going to bundle aldehydes with carboxylic acids. But now, let's go with this one. So this would be cyclopent. And then there's no double bond or triple, so AN. And then you throw the entire thing here, which is carbaldehyde. And that means I need to kind of give space for that. So that's cyclopentane carbaldehyde. Wow. Oh, and by the way, since I have 2 consonants clashing again, Then we have no choice but to add a letter E. But don't forget, if I have my carbaldehyde here at number 1, okay, let's not neglect the chlorine at number 2. So you're gonna have to put 2-chloro at the start. It's a little imbalanced, right? So maybe I could put this here on top, but it's still one entire word, right? So it's one entire line. It just doesn't fit. 2-chlorocyclopentane carbaldehyde. Okay. Next, how about this? It's the same idea as above, but this time I have a dicarbaldehyde because I have two of them outside the parent. So this one is easy. That's cyclobutane. And then again, I have two of these, so that would be dicarbaldehyde. Now, what do we do with this? What's this? Ethoxy. Well, you can count here, and then that would be 4, but that doesn't sound right because you can count here instead, and that will give methoxy or the ethoxy a 3. So that means the correct numbering is you start here just to give the smaller number to this guy. So that would be 3 ethoxy. And that's an entire one word, right? This long final name is 3-ethoxycyclobutane dicarbaldehyde. Also notice I already put the letter E here because I was already expecting that you have two consonants in between. Okay? Or beside each other. Okay? Now let's go to carboxylic acids. And just like aldehydes, they are terminal. If it is an open chain, we just go with the suffix oic acid. Might as well write that here. But if it is a cyclic chain, like later, and maybe I can already find our first cyclic example here, it's gonna be an entire carboxylic acid suffix. Okay, like that's the entire suffix. So before that, let's go back to number 47. So parent chain is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although we know that we give number 1 to the COOH. 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be pent. No double bond at all. So that is an. And then instead of E, I replace that with oic acid. And since we do have a fluorine at number 4, you put that at the start. So that would be 4-fluoro-pentanoic acid. Okay? Then for 48, we have here a dicarboxylic acid because I have both ends with COOH. Just like earlier, it is possible that you can say 1,4-dioic acid, but if you just simply put di on that and not anymore include the numbers, it's also acceptable because we just assume that. So it's gonna be, wait, how many carbons would that be? It's 4. By the way, I'm starting here to give the smaller number to these methyls, but that would be but, no double bond, an, and then I know I'm gonna have a consonant later, so I'm already gonna put an E here, and then two of them, so it's dioic acid, as I just mentioned earlier. And then don't forget these two, so that's gonna be 2,2-dimethyl. And again, that's one entire word. Okay. Now let's have the first cyclic carboxylic acid, which shouldn't be a problem. I hope you are getting the idea now. So I have here 5 carbons. It looks like I'm gonna have to put carbon 1 for the one with the COOH, right? And that would be cyclopentan. But I know that this is a consonant, so I'm already gonna add E in anticipation for that. And then you just copy all of that. Carboxylic acid. But don't forget that we have not yet indicated this one methyl. And you need to still put the number 1 because you can put that methyl anywhere, like here or here, right? So you have to still declare the 1. So that's 1-methyl cyclopentane carboxylic acid. I don't know if there are some of you who wonder, well, if I put 1 on the methyl, why don't I put 1 on the carboxylic acid? But again, the question there, I mean, the answer there is the typical answer. You're not going to put 1 in the priority group. And we're putting 1 for this because this guy is not the priority group, right? And then for number 52, speaking of priority group, it should be clear that terminal groups will take precedence over our double bonds. So if it's a fight between this double bond and the COOH, this one will definitely win. So it's gonna be 1 here, then 2, 3, 4. Oh, and look at that. We have 2 COOHs. Oh, now someone would probably ask, so what is now preferable? Do I go this 1, 2, 3, 4, or do I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? You know what? I think that's a nice thing to consider. And in fact, now I realize if I start here, the only one with number 1 is the COOH. And if I start here, actually, I'll have 1 for both this and the double bond. And so I think this is a good contender for our first point of difference rule, right? So your option is to go here or to go in this direction. And that would be 6 for the chlorine. So if we take it to a battle, so what would be the numbers? If I use the yellow color code, that would be 1 for the COOH, 2 for the double bond, 3 for the other COOH, and then 4 for the chlorine. So it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I use the green one, I have 1 for the first COOH, 1 for the double bond, and I think you already know the winner. But 3 for the second COOH, and 6 for the chlorine. And it doesn't matter what the remaining numbers here, right? All right. Once you see the tiebreaker, it's clear that we choose the green one. So, as a matter of fact, I stand corrected. We are supposed to use the green one. We use this one. Okay. So, by doing that, how would the final name look like? So, the entire ring is a cyclohexane. So, I put that cyclohex. Yeah, and before I put AN, I realize I have EN, so I replace the AN with N. But I need to indicate the N by putting the number 1. So high cyclohex 1N. And then I have my also 1,3 dicarboxylic acid. You now need to indicate both because if you don't, then it's hard to figure out where they are. And then, what else am I missing? The chlorine at number 6. And just to be double sure, let's erase the yellow ones. It's not the ones that we use, right? So, is everything in order? So, I have here a 6-chloro, cyclohex, 1-in, 1,3 dicarboxylic acid. Okay? So, we don't use the number 2 anymore because that's for the double bond. So, we use 1. Oh, this is a consonant. This is a consonant. Just one last touch. There should be an E there. And then the consonant, vowel. Yeah, so this is pretty much the final answer. So that solves our aldehydes and carboxylic acids. I will do a separate recording on the carboxylic acid derivatives, but many of those are also terminal and they should be following similar rules to the ones in this recording.